Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses party cadres and leaders on the concluding day of the BJP's National Convention in New Delhi. Says government working on mission mode to make India a developed country by 2047. Munich Security Conference draws to a close in Germany. War in Ukraine and conflict between Israel and Hamas dominate the discussions. In cricket, India secures a mammoth victory by 434 runs against England on day 4 of the third Test match in Rajkot. And Indian women's team beat Thailand 3-2 to win the first ever crown in Badminton Asia Team Championship 2024. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave valedictory address on the second and final day of the BJP National Convention in New Delhi. The Prime Minister highlighted his government's achievements during the last 10 years. The two-day convention passed a political resolution, Viksit Bharat Modi Ki Guarantee. The Prime Minister urged party workers to work for winning the trust of people in the next 100 days.
जो युवा 18 वर्ष के पड़ाव पर पहुंचे हैं, वो देश की 18वीं लोकसभा का चुनाव करने वाले हैं। अगले 100 दिन हम सबको जुट जाना है, हर नए वोटर तक पहुंचना है, हर लाभार्थी तक पहुंचना है, हर वर्ग, हर समाज, हर पंथ, परंपरा, सब लोगों के पास पहुंचना है। हमें सबका विश्वास हासिल करना है और जब सबका प्रयास होगा तो देश की सेवा के लिए सबसे ज्यादा सीटें भी बीजेपी को ही मिलेगी।
The Prime Minister also said that India's ties with the West Asian countries are passing through its one of the best periods.
यूएई और कतर से जाकर के आया हूं। तमाम देशों से हमारे रिश्ते कैसे मजबूत हैं, ये आज दुनिया देख रही है। आज पश्चिमी एशिया के देशों से हमारे संबंध अब तक की सबसे मजबूत स्थिति में है। कांग्रेस की सरकारें पूरे वेस्ट एशिया को सिर्फ पाकिस्तान के संदर्भ में देखा करती थी। उन्हें भारतीयों की शक्ति और उनके विश्वास पर भरोसा ही नहीं था। लेकिन आज भारतीय क्षेत्र से संबंधों का नया अध्याय लिख रहा है। पहले लोग सोचते थे कि बस तेल का इंपोर्ट कर लेते हैं और यहां से कुछ लेबर भेज देते हैं ताकि उनको रोजी रोटी मिल जाए, लेकिन अब ऐसा नहीं है। आज ट्रेड, टेक्नोलॉजी, टूरिज्म ऐसे अनेक क्षेत्रों में हमारे संबंध बहुत बेहतर हैं और हम निरंतर विकास कर रहे हैं।
Earlier, India's Home Minister Amit Shah said that under the regime of a Narendra Modi-led government, overall development has taken place in the last 10 years.
समग्रता से विचार, हर क्षेत्र का विकास और हर व्यक्ति का विकास करने का काम केवल और केवल नरेंद्र मोदी जी के 10 साल में हुआ है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी के 10 साल के अंदर देश सुरक्षित हुआ, देश समृद्धि की ओर आगे बढ़ा, 60 करोड़ गरीबों को घर देना, घर में गैस का सिलेंडर देना, पीने का पानी का कनेक्शन देना, बिजली पहुंचाना, शौचालय देना, 5 किलो अनाज गरीब को फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मुफ्त में देना और 5 लाख तक का स्वास्थ्य का उसका खर्चा भी सरकार ने उठाया।
Meanwhile, Bharatiya Janata Party's National President JP Nadda has also highlighted the government's achievements in the last 10 years.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में भारत की सांस्कृतिक विरासत को संरक्षित और संवर्धित करने में हमारी सरकार ने अभूतपूर्व तथा उल्लेखनीय सफलता प्राप्त की है। बीते 10 वर्षों में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की अगुवाई में भारत की आध्यात्मिक विरासत को देश की एकता के साथ जोड़ने का कार्य किया है। धर्म के प्रति अटूट प्रतिबद्धता के जरिए से उन्होंने कई ऐसे कार्यक्रम शुरू किए जो भारत को उज्जवल भविष्य की ओर ले जा रहे हैं।
From New Delhi to Europe now, the annual Munich Security Conference is scheduled to close today. Trump-backed U.S. Republican Senator J.D. Vance and the foreign ministers of Poland, Lithuania were among the participants addressing the annual conference later today. This year, the war in Ukraine and the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians has dominated discussions during the previous 2 days. Some 50 heads of state and government, among them the presidents of Ukraine, Israel, and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris attended the Munich conference. On the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference in Germany, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Saturday held a number of bilateral meetings. One of the major highlights was his meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Both the leaders exchanged views on contemporary politics. Dr. Jaishankar also held a meeting with his Saudi Arabian counterpart Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud and discussed the West Asia situation and the strategic partnership. While meeting his Norway counterpart Espen Barth Eide, Jaishankar said he had a big picture chat with him in Munich. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is in Germany for the Munich Security Conference, also met with the Foreign Minister of Palestine, Riyad al-Maliki. The ministers exchanged views on the current situation in Gaza. Dr. Jaishankar also met with Foreign Minister of Armenia, Ararat Mirzoyan, on the concluding day of the Munich conference. In a post on social media platform X, Dr. Jaishankar wrote he is looking forward to take the partnership further. Earlier, Dr. Jaishankar interacted with a new cohort of Munich young leaders for 2024 in Munich on Sunday. The session took place during the ongoing Munich Security Conference in Germany. Jaishankar urged the young leaders to take a positive approach towards global challenges and seek collaborative solutions. He also shared his perspectives of a changing world. Russia, Ukraine and West Asia. These were the topics that dominated the discussions on the second day of the Munich Security Conference. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said there is an extraordinary opportunity in the coming months for Israel to normalize its ties with its Arab neighbors. He also emphasized the need for the creation of a Palestinian state.
The U.S. government is working to secure a mega deal that will see the ties between Saudi Arabia and Israel normalize. During a panel discussion, Antony Blinken said there were genuine efforts led by Arab countries to revitalize the Palestinian Authority so it can be more effective in representing the Palestinians.
I think there's an extraordinary opportunity before Israel in the months ahead to actually, once and for all, end that cycle. And it's because there's some new facts that didn't exist before when there were efforts to make peace between Israelis and Palestinians, starting with the fact that virtually every Arab country now genuinely wants to integrate Israel into the region, to normalize relations if they haven't already done so, to provide security assurances and commitments so that Israel can feel more safe and more secure.
While in Munich, Blinken also met Israeli President Isaac Herzog and discussed efforts to reach a hostage deal. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Saturday lauded the efforts at peace and resolution that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has been putting in through his visits to the region.
Particularly, I think all of us follow the enormous efforts which Tony is putting in right now. We must be clear that what happened on October 7th was terrorism. No caveats, no justification, no explanation. It was terrorism. Eventually, there has to be a permanent fix, a long-term fix. Otherwise, we're going to see a recurrence. And I think today, certainly India has long believed in a two-state solution. We have maintained that position for many decades.
The hostage deal and the humanitarian pause are seen as instrumental in helping advance conversations, which had been frozen in the immediate aftermath of the terrorist attack but have resumed in recent months.
Now, DD India's Trent Murray reports from Munich on the outcome of the Munich Security Conference so far and what India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said regarding India's bilateral cooperation with key global players, including the United States.
Dr. Jaishankar has been very busy at this summit, I have to say. I mean, I've got a little bit exhausted just trying to follow his schedule. I mean, he's had so many bilateral meetings. Let me tell you who he's spoken with. The foreign ministers of the United States, the European Union, the UK, Argentina, Canada, Germany, Belgium, Portugal and the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. We know that Dr. Jaishankar's schedule here was one that many world leaders and other foreign ministers wanted to try and get into, because clearly I think what you are seeing is there is an intense interest and a renewed focus on what Delhi's position is on some of these conflicts that are taking place. And certainly Dr. Jaishankar brought a message from India, I think, which is that Delhi is willing to work constructively really on all sides and to try and negotiate peace where it's possible. It's obviously a difficult ask, but nevertheless, I think the fact that he was so busy is just a very clear indication that internationally many countries really do want to sit down and get the perspective of the Indian government. Israel-Gaza, as I say, was very much the focus this morning. Going into the afternoon, there are two big panels, quite Europe-focused, I have to say. One is about EU expansion. We know representatives from Georgia and Ukraine will speak. Two countries, of course, which are not currently in the EU, but they certainly would like to be. And then the real big summit to sort of conference presentation, I should say, to wrap things up, again, is about the sort of future of geopolitical tensions and Europe's place in the world. We know that that's really coming at a time where there are very real questions here about just how strong the relationship is between Europe and America. Certainly some of that campaign rhetoric we're hearing out of the US, particularly from Donald Trump, suggests that Europe may be somewhat having to do a little bit more on the defence front. And so we know that it's going to have discussions around how it can be a little bit more autonomous and almost able to stand on its own 2 feet if that relationship is tested in coming years.
Trent Murray reporting to us from Munich. Now, as fears mount over the impact of misinformation on democracy, world's biggest technology companies have pledged to fight deceptive artificial intelligence-generated content from interfering with global elections this year. A group of 20 tech companies, including Meta, Microsoft, have announced at the Munich Security Conference that they would work together to combat the creation and spread of content that is designed to mislead voters, such as deepfake images, videos and audio. The rapid growth of generative artificial intelligence, AI, which can create text, images and video in seconds in response to prompts, has heightened fears that the new technology could be used to sway major elections this year, as more than half of the world's population is set to head to the polls. And next we take a look at other stories making news across the world. Facing public pressure amid a surge in overdose deaths, U.S. state Oregon lawmakers are planning to vote on recriminalization. Oregonians in 2020 passed a ballot measure that created the most liberal drug law in the country, decriminalizing the possession of small amounts of illicit drugs. Eiffel Tower will be closed to visitors on Monday because its workers are expected to go on strike, calling for a review of financial management by the Paris City Hall. The union members accused the Paris City Hall of underestimating the cost of works on the monument planned ahead of the Paris Olympic Games. And asbestos contamination in Sydney widened, with authorities saying The toxic material had been detected in more schools. However, the Taylor Swift's concert venue has been declared all clear. The contamination was discovered in January when asbestos was found in the playground. A cold wave has gripped China's northern regions with heavy snows and severe sandstorms starting Saturday, disrupting transportation and prompting temporary traffic control measures. Local transport departments had to provide temporary shelter for stranded people. You're with us on DD India Live, still to come on this show. The African Union held discussions with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. Calls for actions to fund Africa's agri-food system adopted. India's former Niti Aayog CEO addresses week-long Mumbai Tech Week. Says India is the youngest country to provide 31% skill power to the world. And India crush England by 434 runs in the third test to go up 2-1 in the 5-match series.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to updates from the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Russia has said that it has successfully captured the city of Avdiivka in Ukraine's Donetsk region. Russian forces inflicted a series of defeats on Ukrainian forces along the 1,000-kilometer front line, after which Ukrainian troops withdrew from Avdiivka. This paved the way for Russia's biggest victory since the May 2023 capture of Bakhmut. After the failure of Ukraine to pierce Russian lines last year, Moscow has been trying to grind down Ukrainian forces, just as Kiev pondered a major new mobilization and President Volodymyr Zelensky appointing a new commander to manage this conflict. Meanwhile, Ukraine's forces destroyed 12 Russia-launched attack drones overnight. One Kh-59 cruise missile and one Su-34 fighter bombers were also shot down. Ukraine has urged allies to send more weapons. As President Volodymyr Zelensky said, there is a shortage of weapons in Ukraine on Saturday. He was speaking at the Munich security gathering.
Our actions are limited only by the sufficiency and length of the range of our strengths, but what does not depend on us. And Avdiivka situation proves this exactly. Dear friends, unfortunately, keeping Ukraine in the artificial deficit of weapons, particularly in deficit of artillery and long-range capabilities, allows Putin to adapt to the current intensity of the war.
Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani reacted on it, saying Italy is ready to offer more military aid to Ukraine, adding that Rome had already approved 8 support packages for Kiev at the Munich security gathering on Saturday.
Italy approved the package number 8 on military support. I think that they are arriving in Ukraine in these days, and we're ready for doing more. The message to Russia is very clear. Ukraine will be member of the European Union, and then we are working for having Ukraine member of NATO.
Now, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has said we do not want a conflict between Russia and NATO. The reaction comes in days after Donald Trump, former US president, said that he would encourage Russia to attack any NATO member that did not meet its defense spending quota.
Die Bedrohung durch Russland ist real. Darum muss unsere Fähigkeit zur Abschreckung und Verteidigung glaubwürdig sein und glaubwürdig bleiben. Dabei gilt weiterhin, wir wollen keinen Konflikt zwischen Russland und der NATO. Deshalb sind sich alle Unterstützer der Ukraine seit Beginn des Krieges einig, wir schicken keine eigenen Soldaten in die Ukraine. Zugleich müssen Putin und die Militärs in Moskau verstehen, wir, das stärkste Militärbündnis der Welt, sind in der Lage, jeden Quadratmeter unseres Bündnisgebiets zu verteidigen.
US President Joe Biden has termed the existence of NATO as critical for the United States. His comments come as he asserted that as long as there is NATO, the US has allies which help it defend to any future challenges. The remarks underscored the urgency of passing a $95 billion foreign aid package for US's allies.
As long as there's NATO, we have allies that are competent and that defended us. And by the way, the only time Article 5 has been invoked is when we were attacked on 9/11. So the idea that we're going to walk away from Ukraine, the idea that we're going to let NATO begin to split, is totally against the interests of the United States of America, and it is against our word we've given since all the way back to Eisenhower. So it's about time we make sure that Congress come home and pass the legislation funding NATO. It's critical. Our security depends on it.
Now, with an aim to secure Palestinian unity, the Palestinian Authority Prime Minister on Sunday said that Russia has invited Palestinian factions to meet in Moscow on the 26th of this month. He further added that the Palestinian Authority was ready to engage with Hamas. The African Union and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations jointly organized a high-level meeting. Both organizations called for actions to increase financing to enhance climate resilience and adaptation in agri-food systems in Africa. The high-level event on climate finance for agriculture and food security took place in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. The Indian state of Uttar Pradesh stands as the second largest economy, accounting for 9.2% of India's GDP. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch 14,000 projects across Uttar Pradesh worth over 10 lakh crore rupees at the fourth groundbreaking ceremony of UP Global Investor Summit 2023. DD India's Vishal Baristo spoke to District Magistrate of Lucknow concerning this event.
Ground ceremony 4.0 is all set and Prime Minister would be here to inaugurate the ceremony. I have with me the District Magistrate of Lucknow. Let's talk to him and find out about the preparations. Sir, what kind of preparations have been put in place?
Under the inspirational leadership of Honorable CM Sir, last year we had organized Global Investor Summit, and during that summit we had received the investment proposals of more than 30 lakh crores. Out of them, more than 10 lakh crores investment proposals are now ready for groundbreaking. So this groundbreaking ceremony is going to be inaugurated tomorrow, and Lucknow is ready for this mega event. This is an opportunity for UP as well as Lucknow to project itself at national and international level as the investment destination. And we, all officers, are engaged in making this event a very successful and memorable event.
When it comes to the international standards, how many international delegates and countries are participating in it, and in what way it is going to be better than 3.0?
UP has been progressing in terms of industrialization, and infrastructure in UP is going to be on the next level. If we see the airports in last 6-7 years, we have been seeing the upgradation of existing airports, and new airports are also being inaugurated in UP. And in a very short period of time, in next say 6-7 months, we will be having many more airports in UP. We are expecting more than 5,000 delegates, international and domestic delegates. They will be from businesses, they will be from industries across sectors, and we can expect that this is the major milestone in the history of economy of UP. So we are coming up with new policies, with new processes, so that all the investment proposals are given appropriate attention and facilitation in terms of its coming up as a new project. Yeah.
So there you heard the district magistrate. He says that 5,000 plus delegates nationally and internationally are participating in this mega event. With cameraman SP Dubey in Lucknow, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
More from India. As Mumbai Tech Week begins in India's financial capital, former CEO Niti Aayog Amitabh Kant addressed the inaugural session of the week-long event on Sunday. Kant said that India is the youngest country with an average person aging 29, and by 2047, this number would be 33. He predicted that India will provide 31% of skilled power to the world in the days to come.
We are the youngest country in the world. Our average age is 29. And even when we are 147, our average age will be about 33. And we will provide 31% of the skilled manpower to the rest of the world. All the skilled manpower to the world will be provided by India. And that's why the model has to be that you disrupt India, do technological innovations, provide models of tech evolution for the 1.4 billion people of India.
You're watching DD India Live. Time now for some sporting action. India secured a mammoth victory by 434 runs against England on day 4 of the third test match in Rajkot. India rode on Yashasvi Jaiswal's blistering double 100 to set England a humongous target of 557, and the tourists were bundled out for just 122 runs. None of the English batters put up any resistance to the Indian spinners. Ravindra Jadeja took 5 wickets while Kuldeep Yadav grabbed 2 wickets to wrap the England innings. Jaiswal propelled India to 430 for 4 in their second innings before the hosts declared. Jaiswal and Sarfaraz Khan tore into the England attack. Together, they plundered 172 runs off 158 deliveries that allowed India to declare with more than 4 sessions left in the play. India now lead the 5-match test series 2-1. And good news coming for India from the fields of badminton as well. Indian women created history by clinching their first ever Badminton Asian Team Championships crown with a 3-2 victory over Thailand in Shah Alam city of Malaysia. Today, the Indian team showed that they were the superior outfit in the final with convincing wins by former world champion PV Sindhu, a hard-fought triumph by Teresa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand, and national champion Anmol Kharab winning the deciding rubber in style to take the team home. It again came down to Anmol to win the deciding point for the team. She wrapped up the match 21-14, 21-9 to send the entire team in a frenzy celebration. After the victory, India's Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, Anurag Singh Thakur, congratulated the team on social media platform X. He wrote, and I quote him, "Nari Shakti leading the way in the Amrit Kaal as they come up with another historic victory, making it a Super Sunday. Many congratulations to the Indian women's badminton team for clinching the first ever medal at the Badminton Asia Team Championship, emerging as champions and bringing pride and happiness on the faces of every Indian. My best wishes to all. Let's keep scaling new heights," wrote the minister. So that's all in this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.